What was the most important decision you made so far today? What about in the last week? What about the most important decision you made in the last decade? To get help with that decision, you may have asked a friend for advice, made a pros and a cons list, or you just typed something into ChatGPT. Whatever it was, we all have things that we lean on to help guide our decisions and build strategies. You might have chosen an outcome you wanted and then made a path backwards about how you'd want to get there. It could have been what school you were going to go to or what job you were going to take. Could have been buying a house before 30. Might have been, I want to grow the revenue for the company by 44%. It might have been to win an election or to invest in the next big drug or technology. Yet, even with the most meticulously constructed plan, I bet that most of us ended up with a slightly different result. When you fixate on an outcome and work backwards, when you live it out forwards, it can sometimes feel like a Plinko board. We're just bouncing around. Yet, we trace our path backwards, and by doing so, it creates a false sense of certainty about the future. Because with the future comes change, and our world is changing more quickly than ever before. You might think you know where you're heading, but the conditions are always changing. Yet we crave certainty about the future. And this happens in all areas of life and across all areas of business. When we look backwards at our decisions, we have the benefit of seeing how they've played out. But then come the what ifs. What if I did go to a different school? What if I took a different job? What if I got married to somebody else? What if that competitor didn't launch a product around the same time we did? What if we had more funding? Or what if that awesome data scientist didn't leave and take a job at another company? With all of these conditions considered, we might have well ended up in a different place than we are today. But because we understand our world by looking backwards, we focus on the path that happened. And by doing so, this shifts our expectation to believe that there's only a single path forward. This is the illusion of certainty. Because even though there is only one past, there are actually many possible futures. And in knowing this, our challenge, it's not to master certainty of the past. It's to find better ways to navigate these possible futures. My experience in navigation, it started when I was 5 years old. My dad would take me to these orienteering competitions. For those of you that don't know what orienteering is, you are definitely not alone in this audience. I want you to picture some dads, and they're wearing like silly-looking tracksuits like they would wear in college. They take those orange and white flags, and they scatter them all around a state park. And the kids go out to try to find them. But the only thing you have to navigate with are a map, a compass, and your intuition. Well, one of the things I took away from orienteering as a kid is that my intuition, really bad when I'm hungry. The other thing, and that's still true. The other thing that I learned is that I love a good map. You feel a sense of comfort when you can rely on a map. In business, a map is like having data that gives you situational awareness. But we've all been in a position and had the experience of when the map, the model, or the textbook just seemed a little outdated. It's kind of like, you're orienteering and it's been raining, the conditions have changed, and so you end up crossing a stream at a slightly different place. That's when you use the compass. Even when the conditions are changing, the compass helps get you to where you want to go. The compass offers clarity. For the past decade, I've been working with leaders and CEOs in health and government find clarity in situations where data from the past is no longer a reliable guide for the future. And even though we have a bunch of advanced technology we can apply to that challenge, what grounds our work is a different way to approach decision making. And this approach, it's relevant, regardless of whether you're making decisions in your personal life, in business, in sports, or from a position where your decisions are going to impact entire populations of people. And I'd like to share it with you today. We define clarity as having the information to execute with conviction. The information comes in three parts. First is intention. Intention is your why. It's your purpose. It's the direction you're pointing the compass. Next comes context. Context is the conditions. Remember back to the Plinko board when those pegs were starting to move around the screen? It's knowing what conditions are changing, what conditions you have some control over, and just being honest about what you don't yet know or understand. And the third part is impact. And impact is the results. And the results aren't fixed. Results actually emerge from the combination of your decisions given the conditions that you're operating in. Your impact can also be intentional or could have unintended consequences. And unintended consequences could be both good or bad. We just want to make sure that we can avoid the bad ones. One of the times that I applied this approach in my personal life was when I was deciding where to move after grad school. To give everybody here some context, I just started a company. We raised a little bit of money. The team was remote, so I was just working around the clock, and I was just totally stressed out. I recognized that to be a better CEO, a better partner, and a better friend, that I needed more harmony in my life to be able to show up for the people and the causes that I cared about. Some other context. I get a lot of purpose out of what I get to do for work. I recharge best by spending time in the outdoors, mainly hiking, and I really dislike a long commute. So when I was thinking about the conditions of where to move to, I looked for what time of day do I work best, what time zones do I want that to overlap with, a city of at least 500,000 people, and the shortest distance between an airport and 2,000 feet in elevation gain. When I looked at all those different conditions, Salt Lake City emerged as the winner. So I moved to Salt Lake City. And the impact was pretty close to what I had intended. I had a great group of friends. I had good friends who would visit me. The company hit a few key milestones, and I was able to work a lot and also quickly step out to go take a hike whenever I kind of needed to. I had found more harmony. But what we all experienced during COVID was something a little bit different. We lived through a time when decisions were being made towards a single metric: keep hospitalizations below a certain number. And by doing so, the conditions were set up that led to a lot of unintended consequences, many of which we're still unraveling today. This same trap can happen in business when businesses focus on single metrics. If we consider social media companies who fixate on daily active users, we end up with polarization and mental health issues. Fortunately, there's hope for something better. Recently, we've seen new legislation limiting social media use in schools. We also see change to public health infrastructure that moves us away from focusing on a metric like cost containment to actually enabling us to focus on the conditions that truly advance both health and economic outcomes. All of these decisions lead us in a different direction. By using this framework, if we commit to choosing clarity rather than chasing certainty, we not only can avoid unintended consequences, but we can focus on the conditions that move us in the direction we choose. And by doing so, it gives us more agency. By choosing clarity, we all can create more intentional impacts for the people and the causes that we care about. Thank you all very much.